evening, everyone. Welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we are here broadcasting to you live on multiple platforms here. And we also want to welcome all those of you who are watching on demand or on the replay, especially you people on Periscope. Welcome, replay viewers. We thank you for joining us here. We are once again broadcasting to you on the following channels. First of all, we're going to give a big shout out to those who are listening only audio on the podcast and also live on WIGO AM 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio, also on WIGOAM.com. Appreciate you. Also, for those of you who are listening on the TuneIn Radio app, if you don't have the app, it's a free app. Download it right now. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you will find us broadcasting to you right here and right now. We're new location here. We're in what we call the Breakout Bistro. And the Breakout Bistro is here. And I have my producer on the other line. My producer is probably saying, I can't find the stream. He says he's not finding the stream. So we'll have to try him again to see. Hopefully he can get us on here. And I'm going to have him go back on and check our broadcast again and make sure that we are coming through loud and clear. And he's going to do a reboot here, and hopefully and prayerfully he will be able to hear us. It says right now they're having a little trouble streaming to Facebook. All right, so I'm going to do this, guys. I'm going to say, for those of you watching on Facebook, you're going to have to go to the YouTube page. Go to my YouTube page. Find us there, Real Talk Sports on YouTube. You'll find us there. Also, you can find the broadcast on Twitter at Real Talk Sports 7. So those are places you can find it, because right now, not sure what's going on here, but Facebook is giving us a trouble. Not sure what's going on with Facebook, but we're having a little situation right now here with Facebook. Not sure why the stream is not there, but we're going to try to see if we can get this thing going sooner rather than later. But again, we appreciate all those of you who have tuned in on other podcast areas. Hopefully, again, my producer back at WIGO has been able to pick us up now. Like I said, again, we've been having a little bit of a problem with our broadcast. You know how it is when we have guests. It's always a little nonsense that happens, but we're going to go ahead and continue to try to, again, get us rebooted here on Facebook Live. We're going to do this. We're going to go to a quick little commercial break, and then we'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show. You guys keep it locked right here as we do a quick little reboot. All right? Don't go nowhere. Hang on. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. Nothing better than the sound of diesel in the morning. And what better place to get high horsepower diesel than the all-new 2020 Ford F-250, now with 475 horsepower and over 1,000 foot-pound of torque. You know where to get it? From me, the Minister Jonathan Simmons at Allen Vigil Ford Commercial Sales. Because you know why? I'm the commercial truck guy in a shirt and tie. All right, we're back here, guys. Unfortunately, Facebook I'm not sure what Facebook's doing, but it's doing something crazy. What will not let us broadcast right now. So if you Facebook users, hopefully and prayerfully, you'll be able to pick us up a little bit later, and we'll be back on with you as well. We're going to not belabor the time, though. We're going to keep it moving because, as they say in the world of show business, the show must go on. So we're going to go ahead and jump in and talk a little Hawks basketball, a little NBA action here. And, of course, if I'm talking some Hawks basketball, I'm going to bring in a guy who's an expert. He does a great podcast and also has been covering the Hawks for years. He is the man behind the program called Hawks Beat. Dr. Edwin Easy E back in the building. Sir, welcome back.
What's going on, my guy? How are you doing?
Oh, man, this is some craziness, man. I mean, anytime that you have technology operating, it's like birds done got in the machine, feathers done cut loose on Facebook. I don't know what's going on, but my producer's like, we can't hear you. Come back. So anyway, Hopefully, folks on Facebook will be able to hear me again. But like I said, man, show must go on. So we appreciate you for joining us. All right, break it down for us. Hawks, 2 picks here. Number 6 in the first round, I believe. Number 5 in the second round. What are we looking at? First round, number 1 pick out of USC.
Well, of course, if you've been living under a rock, they got the Okongwu kid from USC. He was my second choice. I actually like the Okoro kid that went right before the Hawks. Right before the Hawks, he went to Cleveland. But I really like the Okongwu pick, man. He is probably, arguably, the best defender in the draft, and that's what you needed. That's what you needed. You needed defense, a guy who's going to come up and shore up that front line. You bring in Clint Capella. Now you're looking at some meat down low, man. Now you're looking at some meat down low. If you're looking for a comparable guy, think kind of a Bam Adebayo light. That's kind of the mold of what the type of player he is. But I was very pleased with the 6th pick, man. I was on a conference call this week, or actually earlier last week. You know, my days run together. But very impressive young man, man. Very impressive young man. And the city is going to love this guy, man.
Well, I mean, this is what we're looking for. You talk about defense. Certainly that's been one of the things that the Hawks have been lacking is the ability to defend. They were one of the best scoring teams in the NBA last year. I think they were in the top 10, if I'm not mistaken. But they have just had a big problem defending. And so now they've actually made a couple of moves. Talk to us a little bit about the free agent pickup as well to try to bolster that defense.
Well, and I said this on my podcast. I said we're now in phase 2 of this rebuild. You know, Travis is doing this thing sequentially. So right now, Travis is just addressing 2 major things. He's addressing the defense and 3-point shooting. You've covered some of the games, so you know that Coach Lloyd Pierce loves to shoot threes. He said, I want them shooting a ton of threes, and they did a great job of that last year, to the tune of being 8th in the league with the amount of 3 points shot. However, they were dead last in 3-point percentage.
Right.
So he has made it clear and concise that, look, man, I'm bringing in 3-point shooting guys come hell or the high water. So you bring in the Gallinari kid. You bring in Tony Snell, who is a consistent 3-point shooter above 40% for the last few years. So you're addressing that. You address the defense with the Chris Dunn kid. You bring in Rondo for veteran leadership to kind of help mentor Trae Young a little bit. We're still waiting on the Bogdanovic pick. We're still waiting on that. They offered him a deal. So we have up until 12 for Sacramento to match. But I've liked all the moves that Travis has made thus far, man. I think he's really addressing the issues.
Well, it's funny because, like you said, again, if you look at this team, and you pointed out very, very nicely there, it really has been a tale of 2 worlds here, a tale of 2 cities, so to speak. Offensively explosive, one of the best outside shootings in the league, but defensively just not seem to be able to match up. Now, I also heard they had a free agent signing. I want to say Chris Dunn, if I got that correct, a guard that can also defend on the perimeter. How important is that when you're facing, teams like in Washington? You have, that dynamic duo there in the backcourt there. So talk to us a little bit about that pickup as well.
Listen, when they signed Chris Dunn, I was excited. 2 years, very, very team-friendly deal. You're not paying him a ton of money. He is that defensive dog that we've been wanting ever since the days of Damari Carroll and Thabo Sefolosha. He is that dog. He is an elite guard defender. He is an elite guard defender, and I think that bringing him on is probably one of the best moves they can make. You don't really necessarily have to, play him 30, 40 minutes a game, but he is that guy that says, look, man, I need you to come shut down this guy, and he can do it. He causes fits. I know a lot of people remember him from the game last year when he mashed Trae in the head because Trae took a shot he didn't like, and they were going at it. But we saw them earlier this week kind of exchange Instagram pleasantries. Trae saying, all right, man, let's roll. And they're ready to roll. So I love the Dunn pick. He is a dog defensively, easily one of the top defenders in the NBA at the guard position. I love it.
Yeah, no doubt. I figured that was something that you were going to really like. I know I liked it because again, I just mentioned like one duo you have in Washington. You got Bradley Beal and John Wall. You have constant duos like that throughout the NBA that previously have given the Hawks a lot of trouble. It puts them in a position where it puts a lot of pressure on Trey. And speaking of Trey, another free agent pickup. You got to give him kudos for a veteran leader back in the house. Talking about Rajon Rondo, now an Atlanta Hawk.
Yeah, man. I like. I mean, and if anybody knows me, they know I'm a Travis Schlink guy. But I'll call Travis on stuff that I don't think that he did a good deal on. I mean, I was very highly critical of the Jabari Parker fit and some of the other moves. But I think with Rondo, you bring in a guy you now have a guy in this roster that can come into your locker room and throw rings on the table. Rondo has had for whatever pass he's had, he is a guy that can throw rings on the table and say, "Look, man, I'm not just talking just to be talking. I'm talking because I've been to the mountaintop and I've seen the promised land." So that is going to be tremendously good for Trey. I mean, you lose the veteran leadership of Vince Carter, and I think with Rondo is going to be a little bit more concentrated. Rondo was no nonsense. He's a bit of an old school type player, and he's going to get in there and he's going to expect a certain level of competitive fire. And that's not saying that these guys weren't giving it before, but Rondo will demand it.
Oh yeah, he's got a little bit of a temperament to himself. I can remember in his days at Boston. He's always been the kind of guy that's going to get right in your grill, both teammates and opponents alike. So to me personally, again, it's because of my age, I think, I've been waiting for the Hawks to get some it just, really, like you mentioned, since Damari Carroll went down and then finally out from the team, they have not really had a guy or group of guys that could really be the aggressor and the defender of players like a Trey Young, even some degree John Collins. Don't get me wrong, John Collins obviously plays the power forward position, but he is now, with the development of his outside game, his handling of the ball, he's not kind of your, back in my day, back in the 70s, 80s, you guys had the late Maurice Lucas. You had guys that were really enforcers down there, Charles Oakley. Collins is not that kind of guy. So to bring in some guys that even from the guard position that can give you kind of that toughness, I think is much needed, and it's going to be a big difference in the Hawks as they, I believe, next year make a push to the playoffs.
Yeah, and definitely, and I think that more than anything, these guys give you some moxie. You know what I mean? They give you a little bit of moxie, and I think you kind of missed that last year. If you look at the metrics, Trey and Herter were among the league's worst defenders, and I mean for a guy Trey's size, but if you look at what Trey has to do offensively, traditionally you're not going to see a guy with that much offensive load be a stellar defense, but you do want the defense to get better. But the thing is, now you have the flexibility, right? Now you have the flexibility to say, okay, let me give Trey a little breather. I need Chris to come in there and be a dog with somebody. I need Rondo to run the show for 5 to 10 minutes and just not let us go down by 20. Because last season, what we saw was every time you took Trey out, next thing you know, we're down by 15.
That was ridiculous.
Now these guys are going to be able to give him a little breather. You don't have to play Rondo 15. Last year he played 20 minutes a game. You're playing 15 minutes a game. That's going to be enough for him. Keep him fresh for the playoffs, and they'll be fine.
You're right, man. Well, listen, brother, we appreciate you as always for joining us. Our segment was kind of jacked up a little bit, hijacked by the ghost in the machine, but these things happen. So you know what that means? You got to come back to I got a new spot now. I call it the Breakout Bistro. So, you got to come on to the bistro now. But listen, you know how we do. Every time we have a guest, the information, how they can find out more about you, and, of course, the stage is yours.
Just follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We're at Hawks Beat right there on the screen. We have a podcast that we've been dropping a lot of podcasts during the free agency stuff, during the draft stuff. So make sure you follow us there. And, you'll find me on Jonathan Simmons' show whenever he invites me on. That's my guy. But, just hit Hawks Beat anything or Hawks Beat on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You'll find us there, and we'll give you the best in Atlanta Hawks news.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate you for taking time on your schedule to join us, man. Always great to have that inside look from the Hawks. We try to do this on our show. And, of course, the stage at Real Talk Sports is always available for Easy.
My guy, appreciate you.
All right, man. Appreciate you. There's guys, Edwin from Hawks Beat, like I said, does some great stuff, both on and off the court as far as covering the Hawks. He's been involved with the education of our kids here for a good minute, so we appreciate him. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll shift gears. Can't go anywhere because we are going to talk high school football. Breaking news, it's playoff time in Clayton County. All right, guys, you listen to the Real Talk Sports Show as you are listening to us on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO, and all portals that we can on live stream video. We'll be back in just a moment. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our #1 priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. All right, guys, we're back. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. If you are listening either via podcast or on WIGO 1570, we appreciate you. And also, we want to give a big shout out to those of you who are watching the replay on Periscope. Appreciate all the hearts. And also those of you watching on demand on YouTube as well. Of course, big shout out to everybody who's watching on Facebook Live now that we've been rebooted, and on YouTube Live as well. All right, guys, every week we try to bring you a little high school football, and we got breaking news. Clayton County has put multiple teams in the playoffs, and we have a head coach of one of those teams right now. He's been a good friend of our show, Coach DeTimothy Floyd of Jonesboro High School. Welcome back, sir.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Hey, man, first of all, congratulations. Back in the playoffs. Got to feel good that you are part of, I think, a contingent, of 5 teams from Clayton County heading into the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, we're pretty excited, for Jonesboro and for Clayton County. There are 5 teams, including 1 region champion. So we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, no doubt. You guys have done a great job, and we're going to have Mount Zion on in just a little bit right after you as well to talk about, this idea of being in the postseason. And for Mount Zion, it's actually the first time they've been in there in, I believe, a couple of years. All right, you guys have, a big task ahead of you. You got to go on the road to play a program. And you've been playing these types of programs about the last 4 weeks. All these programs have a long reputation and history of outstanding play for football. You got to go down the road to Griffin to take on the Griffin Bears. Real quick, challenges to you, first of all, offensively on taking on this Bears team.
And first, I want to say we're pretty excited about going down to Griffin. They got a tradition. It's going to be a great environment. But we're excited about it, looking forward to it. And you asked about our offensive challenges?
Yeah, so looking at this Griffin team, like you said, tough team. What kind of challenge is it going to be for you as far as stopping their offense and the way they play for your defense, which has been pretty stout this year, I might add?
Well, they most definitely have some talented kids that, can make plays in space. They can make plays down the field. So, we're going to have to, control the line of scrimmage as usual, which is the goal every week, and try to take away the explosive plays.
And no doubt, you mentioned that is the goal each and every week to do that. And for you guys on offense now, again, Griffin, a well-balanced team. What are you looking to try to do? I know you can't get in the game plan too much, but what are kind of the ways that you guys are going to look to attack? You guys have been about the big play. Are you trying to get more consistency, or do you think you can hit these guys with occasional big play from what you've seen on film?
Well, we're always going to try to, take our shots downfield at some point. But, we have to be able to establish the run. We want to control the line of scrimmage, control the clock, and take our shots when we get a chance.
Well, no doubt, and we're excited about seeing you guys in there. Well, let me do this. Like you said, again, our time has been a little jumbled up because we had a technical problem here with Facebook. We have a gentleman, I think, in the green room here. Also, kudos to him. Another Clayton County head coach. I believe Coach Buster Davis is in the building from Mount Zion. Coach, are you there?
Hey, how you doing, guys? What's going on?
There he is.
Coach.
Good, Coach.
Good.
Well, guys, you see I got these little lines in between the coaches. You guys may not know, those of you who are watching from outside of Atlanta or Clayton County, but these two guys basically kick off the Clayton County High School football season. We call it down here the backyard brawl, because literally these teams are less than 5 miles down the road from one another and actually share really the same city of Jonesboro. So, Coach Davis, welcome to you, and kudos for getting Mount Zion back in the playoffs.
I appreciate it. How you guys doing today?
Everybody's doing good, sir. Well, so now let me ask you, you guys, just like Coach Floyd, you have a big challenge here. You guys got to go on the road, taking on a team who I believe is undefeated.
Yeah.
What's some of the things have you seen on film that you think might challenge you the most as you guys head out and go on the road?
I think it's just they're consistent in what they do offensively. They've been doing it for so long. And I think when you got a team that's been doing, running that from middle school all up to high school for so many years, they don't make very many mistakes. And so for us, we got to play really good mistake-free football in order to give ourselves a chance to win the game. So, but again, the playoffs is a different season, so anybody can be beat on any day. So that's kind of our mantra this week, is that we prepare like we're going to win, and that's what we're supposed to do. So.
Hey, Coach, how excited are you to make this kind of, I don't want to say landmark, but basically to get Mount Zion back in the playoffs? I know you guys are under 500, but what does it mean for you as far as the stepping stones on what you're trying to do in this program?
I think it's everything. It's been since 2009 since they've been to the playoffs, so 11-year gap. And I think for us, it's a stepping stone of us building this program back up so that we can compete at a higher level. So, but it means everything to our kids and our community, and we're very excited about going to play Jefferson.
And Coach Floyd, again, it's been an interesting year for you guys. I know that at one point you guys also were undefeated and looking like you might get the opportunity to host a home game. But you told me that, hey, the Money's Mill game was going to be key for you as far as you guys winning that game and your seeding is concerned. For you and your program, how does it help you to have this consistency of, being able to get to the playoffs and hopefully push into, deep into this run?
Well, every week, every day, we talk about being consistent in the little things that's going to make a difference, and we just try to keep pushing that. And making the playoffs is just another step to where we're trying to get, and we're gonna have to be consistent in all phases of the game in order to make a push.
Now, for all three of you, both of you guys, what would you? First of all, let me ask a question. Do you both know already about what kind of fan attendance is going to be allowed? First, Coach Floyd, how about you? What have they told you about the Griffin game, and as far as you bringing fans from Jonesboro?
I think both sides will be able to bring about 750 fans. No band and no cheerleaders. I'm not sure about the home side, but our side, no band and no cheerleaders. But we have about 750 or so tickets available for the visitor side.
All right, so guys, you heard it right here that if you want to go on the road down to Griffin and see the Jonesboro Cardinals in person, they do have tickets available. Coach Davis, how about you? What's been the feedback from what you guys as far as total people can come?
It's 50% capacity for them, which is 1,000 on each side.
Okay.
Unfortunately for our band, they won't be there, but everybody else is expected to be there, and we want to sell as many tickets as we possibly can, because again, it is a monumental opportunity for our kids to have an opportunity to go do it, go play in the playoffs. So 2,000 people, and that'd be probably the biggest crowd they've been in front of all year, definitely. So it'd be awesome. It'd be an awesome experience.
Well, I'm sure, again, both of you guys going into programs that are very energized about their team, so it's going to be kind of hostile. I'm sure they're going to stretch the limits of what they can put in for the capacity in both cases. But, again, you got a huge group of people here. We do share this show on a couple of group pages that are involved with Clayton County moms and dads, and a couple others. So I can assure you that everybody watching this from around the county is very, very pleased and excited and pulling for you guys to get a win. Now, folks, I know you're going to ask me. No, unfortunately, we are not able to live stream these broadcasts. We hope that hopefully next year that we'll have personnel in place to do this. But right now we can't travel. What we hope to do is get some game footage that we can, replay and talk to you guys both next week. Hopefully about 2 upset victories for Clayton County on the road. So that's what we really hope. Again, we appreciate you guys. Now, do either one of you know where fans can watch the live telecast? Is it being streamed by one of these streaming services that you're aware of?
As far as I know, through the Georgia High School Association, they can go to that link and it'll have information about watching the stream.
All right, perfect. All right, guys, so that's it. Go to ghsa.org, I believe it is. You also can follow them and get information on social media. I think on Twitter, they're the official GHSA. Also the same thing on Instagram. Please go on there, find out the information, find out where the stadium is, because I can tell you from a guy who knows, last year I made the mistake of thinking that a game was going to be at one location and found myself there with camera people all by myself. So please, folks, go to the official GHSA page and find out more information about where Mount Zion is going to be playing, exactly the stadium or the school, and the same thing with Jonesboro. And please go down and support guys, because you're going to need it, because they're playing two tough programs on the road. But if y'all come along, you never know, you might push them along to an upset. All right, guys, again, we appreciate you. Oh, one other thing. Do either one of you guys have information about how people can follow you on social media or websites? Yes, I got him. I got a trick question right there.
I don't know the tags. I don't remember the tags, but we do have. I have it for you Tuesday.
It's all right. Listen, guys. Here's the thing. Go on to Google and simply put in either Jonesboro Cardinal or Jonesboro High School football. Do the same thing. Mount Zion. Now, this is very critical. You got to put in either Mount Zion, Jonesboro, or Mount Zion Bulldogs, because if you don't, there's actually a Mount Zion in I think it's in Carrollton or Carroll County. They're gonna pull up. That's not us. Okay, you want the Mount Zion Bulldog, or put in Mount Zion Jonesboro, and you'll get them. And of course, put in Jonesboro High School and Jonesboro Cardinals or Jonesboro football, and you'll find them as well. Well, guys, listen, I know you got to buckle down and get ready. Game is Friday. I can't believe we're right around the corner. Again, kudos to both of you for the job you've done this year. We look forward to having you on next year to talk about this first round of playoffs.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Good luck, Coach.
Good luck, Coach.
There it is, guys, showing a little Clayton County love right there. That was Coach DeTimothy Floyd of Jonesboro High School, and also Coach James Davis out of Mount Zion as well. So we appreciate both of those gentlemen for joining us and taking time out of their schedule, because like I said, they're getting ready to go and get in the playoffs. So we appreciate them. And we appreciate them taking time out to join us here on the Real Talk Sports Show. And again, I want to say we appreciate you guys who are watching us on the various platforms, especially any of those of you guys who are watching us on Twitter. We just want to say thank you so much for doing so. Also, thank you guys that are watching on Twitch. It takes us a little while for you guys to kind of know who we are. But we hope and pray that we will start to get a nice audience from you guys in terms of response from Twitter as well. We got some more football coming up. See, that's what happens when you eat that hurry up snack before you go on the air. You get a little kickback. But like I said, again, we're going to be talking more football, some high school football we've done. We're talking some flag football. That's right, flag football. I got a great guest coming in that's going to talk to you about one of the fastest growing sports, especially one of the fastest growing ways of playing football, which is flag football. A lot of you guys listening to broadcasts, I'm sure you have played it before, so you know what it's all about. So again, we appreciate you, and we look forward to having that coach on there. And of course, you know, we always end the broadcast talking our Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to bring back D. Orlando Ledbetter. He's going to join us right around the 8:45 hour, as he always does. And he's going to talk to us about what's happening with the Falcons, how they might have blown an opportunity to get a victory last week. And we may even talk a little college football. Every now and then we get some feedback from Mr. Football, Vincent W. Turner, to talk a little college football. We may talk about that. As you can see, guys, for those of you who are regular listeners, we are in a brand new location. We're in a place called the Breakout the Bistro. That's where we are right now. So, again, we're very thankful to those of you who are watching us and listening to us, of course, on WIGO AM 1570 Atlanta's Incredible Radio. What we're going to do, guys, we're going to reboot. We're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to talk flag football. And I got a guy that's a big gun in the warrior flag football. All right, guys, keep it locked. Don't go nowhere, especially those of you who are listening to us on WIGO 1570 Atlanta's Incredible Radio, and all those of you who are listening live. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. All right, everybody, we're back. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast you live on the radio on WIGO 1570, Atlanta's Incredible Radio, and streaming on WIGOAM.com. You also can find us on the free TuneIn Radio app. If you don't have the app, you need to download it right now. Put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you'll find us broadcasting to you right here, right now. For those of you who normally follow us, you know normally I've been doing this show because of the pandemic from something called the Lockdown Living Room. I've changed it now, boys. We're in the Breakout Bistro because I think that hopefully and prayerfully we're breaking out of all this Coronaville that we've been living in right here. But until then, we can enjoy ourselves here. And again, big shout out to those of you who are watching the replay on Periscope and on demand on YouTube and on Twitch. Well, here's what happens. Anytime you have people that are told, hey, you can't go outside or you can't congregate like you used to, you have to sometimes find other ways to get out and to exercise and have fun. Well, even if that wasn't the case, this is a sport that's been around for a long time. And the cool thing about it is almost anybody can play, even an OG like me. Well, maybe not me, but anyway, great sport, great fun, and it's exploding across the country. And I have a guy here that has been on the ground floor of this, and he is actually the commissioner from the South Florida Flag Football League. The one and only Mr. Shannon Knowles is in the building. What's going on, kind sir?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing, Mr. John Simmons?
Hey, man, I'm fantastic, but I'm glad you're able to join us here tonight. It's funny, when I first found out about you and started doing some back checking, I didn't realize that I was talking to the commissioner.
Yes, you are. I've been a commissioner since 2004.
Well, listen, give people a backdrop, man, because I was kind of excited talking to you offline, and I was like, hold on, let me just slow it down. So I'll let Shannon tell people himself. Tell us a little bit about, first of all, your background in sports, playing football well at the highest level, but more importantly, how flag football kind of got started with you.
Well, like I said, I've been playing football. Since Little League. Well, when I was coming up, it was called Little League, but now it's called Pop Warner. I've always loved football. Football was one of the greatest sports that to me that I've ever been interested in. It's a competitive sport. It's a contact sport, and like I said, it brings teams together and also communities together, and you have to join together in order to build a team in order to win a championship. So with that being said, I've been playing ever since Little League. I went all the way up to high school at Miami Norland Senior High School down here in Florida. After that, I tried out for the NFL. Like I said, I didn't go to college, but I had a lot of, like I said, I was really fast, had a lot of skills, and I just went straight from high school to training, and then from training I tried out for the NFL. Actually, I tried had a couple of combines up there in Atlanta, Georgia, and actually wound up being in the top 100 certified to be an NFL player. But the dream of mine of being an NFL player never came through. So for a while I was pretty lost. Kind of in limbo, trying to figure out what it is that I wanted to do, because I always believed that I would be an NFL player, just ever since a kid. So when that didn't happen, I like I said, I was a little lost, just thrown off. And finally, a friend of mine bumped into my brother. And when he bumped into my brother in the mall, he had introduced the sport of flag football. Now, in the beginning, I guess playing football as a kid with helmets and pads. The first time I heard about flag football, I was like, no. I said that's not a sport for me. I'm like, I don't even want to try that. It's something that you running around in and you snatch off flags, and you couldn't touch anybody back then. It was 4-on-4,
Right.
which is huge down here in South Florida. Huge 4-on-4, 5-on-5, and 7-on-7. But back then it was 4-on-4, and I was like, no, I'm good. And then later on down the line, I got introduced to 9-on-9 semi-contact. I'd never heard of that before. Never.
Me neither.
Yeah. So I was like, man, what is this 9-man? And all of a sudden I started doing a little research and we started playing. I was playing with another gentleman and a guy who had it down here in South Florida. And it was running good. It was really good. It didn't have a name to it at that time. And I wound up playing. I got in it in 2001. And eventually the guy, he left. He called me to the side and he said, hey, he said, I don't know something about you. You say you're a different guy. And he said, I'm about to do something else and I want to see if you want to be a partner with me in going forward with this flag football league. And in the beginning, I turned it down. I was like, no. I said, I'm focusing on playing. I love this sport. I don't want to be caught in the midst of the politics. I said, I just want to play. And it took, I say in 2003, there was a situation that happened to where it was now the changing of the gods. And he eventually wound up moving to the side, and the other teams wanted to go ahead and pick up where he left off. And they said, you know what, we'll follow you. If you go ahead and take it over, we would actually transition from this league to the next. And in 2003 and 2004, I wound up introducing South Florida Flag Football Association to the world. And
Wow.
since 2004, we've been rapidly growing. It's huge down here in South Florida. Like I said, I can't complain. I love it. The guys love it. It's super competitive. And yeah, like I say, here we are today.
Well, I can tell you, man, it's big here too. Matter of fact, it's been a growing sport here in Georgia for women. Right down the road from us, we have a couple of women's high school teams, and it gets a lot of notoriety here. The Georgia High School State Association tweets it out. Their playoffs are about to start, so it's a big deal. And of course, as we talked about offline, at one point we thought it was going to get really big when they started the league with Michael Vick and some of the other guys. So you might be onto something here, sir.
Oh no, definitely. Definitely, I feel like flag football is, from what I've seen coming up, it's a sport for everybody. For everybody, everybody can play. It doesn't exclude no one.
Nope.
It's like I said, I don't care if you're big, you're tall, you're fast, you're slow. If you still got energy to get out there and exercise and run around, this is definitely a sport for you. The reason why, like I said, I like 9-man. It's like the closest thing to me to football, because like I said, at the line of scrimmage, a receiver can check like a DB can check a receiver, and it's 3 down linemen. So like, the big 200, 300 pound guys who still want to play, yeah, you still can play. And that's really what I love about it. It's just a sport for everybody.
Well, it's funny because when you mention that, it takes me back many years. I'm not telling you how many, but many years when I was in college, we didn't play flag football. We had touch football. And a lot of guys that played in that intramural league were guys that were former college players that obviously couldn't play we were Division 1A. I was at Northeastern University. A lot of those guys couldn't play for the team, but it was amazing how competitive it was. And I think at that time, it wasn't 9. I want to say it was 7, because we had 3 down linemen. Yeah, we played 7-on-7, 3 down linemen, a quarterback, and 2 offensive players. So just really quickly, what's the biggest difference of the 9-on-9 versus 7-on-7, or like you said, how it early started, just 4-on-4?
The size fields is one. The dimensions in 9-on-9. It's a regular size football field. We actually use the regular 120-yard field with the 100 yards and the end zones at 10 yards. You can kick field goals. And 4-on-4, if I'm not mistaken, the field is I want to say 50 yards. And then 7-on-7, the dimensions are 100 yards instead of 120. But and then in 4-on-4 and 7-on-7, unless you get semi-contact, which is, I believe, it does go up to 7-on-7 and 8-on-8. There's so many divisions now. 9-man was the one that I recognized that, like I said, you can put your hands on someone, and if you do it, you could actually do a run play. Like you could actually do a run play with a quick pitch right, quick pitch left, and somebody can actually get out and block for you. In those other sports, you have to shield. 7-on-7, 4-on-4. It's a penalty if a person wants to come block for you. But in 9-on-9, it's called it's straight blocking, and like I said, it's open hand contact. But once again, it's just a lot of fun. Like I said, it brings the real, like I said, if it's not tackle football, to me, 9-on-9 is the best next thing.
You know, it's funny you said that because we must have been playing 9-on-9 because at that time I was in college. I weighed about 260 pounds. And I can assure you, we had a guy play quarterback. He was like, I can't compare to Lamar Jackson, but basically we ran a lot of plays with the straight hike, bootleg, quarterback draws, and we were blocking people. I mean, we had a couple of times where some guys got bowled over and a couple people got hurt. So either we were playing 9-on-9 or we were being illegal. One or two. So now, speaking of this, so you guys have an entire league. How many teams in the league?
Right now we have, we're down to the last 2 teams. We actually had to close for the pandemic.
Oh, right. Okay.
We started in February, and from February, I believe we made it to March. I think we made it up to week 6, and after the week 6, due to COVID-19, we had to shut down.
Right.
And we were off. We just started back, I believe, in October. So we were one of the leagues that they did call back to try. Then we went over the protocols of social distancing and masks, and they basically told us that, hey, the protocol is, whatever the city demanded, and then it was like, hey, we can go ahead and try it. And when we came back, I believe we only had 4 weeks left. We just had an amazing weekend this past weekend. It was the final 4 teams. And right now we're down to the last 2 teams. We are headed to the Super Bowl December 5th with the Playmakers versus Death Row.
Yeah, I saw Death Row near the top. I said, yeah, they probably can't scared to play them. But at the end of the day, so it's interesting. So you guys really got through your playoff season, and now you're technically in the flag football Super Bowl.
Yes, we are. Like I said, it's a blessing. To be honest, I didn't know if we would be here. And like I said, with everything that's going on around the world today, it's
right.
It's a blessing to be here with the opportunity to actually finish the season and crown the champion. But most importantly, it's just an opportunity for the guys to get back out there and see one another. And like I said, to me, overall, it's just truly a blessing.
And for you, what was the biggest challenge? Speaking of COVID-19, what was the biggest challenge as a league commissioner as far as for you guys, protocols and the like? What was the toughest thing?
Trying in the back of your mind, trying to keep everyone safe, because definitely I know that each and every person that comes out there, there's always, like, you don't know what can happen. You don't know the possibilities of anyone that can catch it or anyone that can spread it. So in my mind, even coming back out there, I was really like, what are we going to do? I got with my team and we was trying to figure out what can we do to make sure everybody is safe. Because the last thing that, as a commissioner and like I said, the head of an organization, the last thing you want to hear is that somebody out there to your field or anybody wind up catching it, spreading it to somebody, and and the worst happens. So safety first, more than anything, but most importantly, just looking out for the guys.
And speaking of that, did you guys have any situations where you had to, like in the NFL, put people on injured reserve or canceling games due to the COVID?
No, we haven't had a situation like that. Once again, thank God.
Praise the Lord. Amen.
Not a situation that came up like that. But like I said, we've been, like I said, trying our best. If we see somebody is, masked up on the sidelines when you're not on the field, and basically temperature checking whenever we get a chance, like before you can even enter the field. And so, like I said, we've done really good. Like I said, no COVID, positive tests, and that so far, like I said, that has been a tremendous blessing.
Well, listen, Shannon, it's been a blessing having you on the show and be able to talk to us about what's going on with the South Florida Flag Football League. Always good to talk to the commissioner and get it right from the top. Now, how can people find out more, get involved, or even have you guys doing any consulting with other teams around the country to talk about expanding this and making this even like a Southeastern Regional League or even a national league?
Absolutely. At this time, we actually have, for years, we've been having ex-players, ex-NFL players, collegiate players come back and play in our league, especially from the area, from the high schools. You're talking about Northwestern High School, Central, Miami Senior High Central, Cara City. Those are big time, Booker T, Washington. Those are big time high schools down here in South Florida. And they have produced some of the best NFL players that are currently playing in the league and have played in the league. And most of the time they do come back, and when they come back to South Florida, they come out and they absolutely come out and represent our flag league. So lately it's been like you said, growing trend to the part to where we are now beginning to, I guess people are now beginning to want to know more and more about it and also want to spread it because, like I said, Flag Football League is becoming a bigger part of sports, exercise, development in sports, because with the contacts and, with the head concussions and, a lot of these things that's going on. So like a lot of parents are now trying to lean their kids toward playing flag football so early before they actually put on pads, so they can actually learn the sport, develop in the sport, and then head over to, pads and equipment.
Well, I like that idea, man. And also the other thing I'm feeling some kind of way now. I started thinking to myself, I say, hey, I got a football up there. I should sling it around a little bit. I'm thinking I could be, if I get some line in front of me, I'll be like a statue out there. But I probably slow one about 15 yards downfield.
Listen to me. Listen, that's what it's all about. All it is just getting out there and throwing the ball and having a bunch of fun. But like I said, you get you a line, I'm pretty sure you can still get out there and do it yourself.
I'll do a little something, man. You get me in there. Because my inspiration back when I was a young kid, I used to watch, like everybody, NFL football, NFL films, and there was a great legendary player that played into the 70s for the Oakland Raiders by the name of George Blanda, and he played until he was like 48 or 49 years old. You guys want to Google it up, George Blanda, and actually won a couple of games because he was such a gifted athlete, both kicking as a field goal kicker and would come in as a backup quarterback and lead some like last minute drives. So,
wow.
I'm just saying, I might have to get my George Bland on or something. But anyway, listen, how can you find out more about the South Florida Flag Football Association? Because as we always do, when we bring someone on, we give them a chance to talk about their social media and their website. So now, the stage is yours.
Yes, if you would like to find out about South Florida Flag Football Association, you can find us anywhere on Facebook at South Florida Flag Football Association, as well Instagram at South Florida Flag Football Association, and Twitter, same handle at South Florida Flag Football Association. You'll see the logo that we represent, and like I said, you can follow us there. Go to our YouTube page once again at the same South Florida Flag South Florida Flag Football Association, and check us out. Enjoy, because we'll be posting the game that was just played on YouTube coming up sometime this week, and then definitely we're ready for the Super Bowl December 5th at Anston Sports Complex down here in Miramar Park.
There you go, guys. All right, the latest and greatest from the South Florida Flag Football League, the commissioner himself, Mr. Shannon Knowles in the building. Shannon, again, thank you so much for joining us. We'll look back to having you on again, because you got to give us the recap of the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely. After December 5th, I'll definitely let you know. I'll come back. I'll tell you who won. I might even have a couple of guys who won the Super Bowl with me.
That's what I'm talking about. They can flash out them rings or whatever y'all get when you win the Super Bowl down there. Well, listen, Shannon, we appreciate you. God bless, and we look forward to having you back on soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Simmons.
That's it, guys. Shannon Knowles in the building. I want to do this here. Want to give a big shout out again to all those of you who are watching the broadcast on any portal that you are. We want to especially give a big shout out to the replay viewers on Periscope and on Twitch. That's right. For the first time, we're actually on Twitch and we're recording the broadcast as well. So we appreciate you. Well, listen, we're going to do two things really quickly. We're going to shift the gears, as we always do, to talk some NFL football. And then, of course, we're going to take a little bit of break in the action because the folks from WIGO, we're only on to 9 o'clock, so we have to take a little quick station break and then bid them adieu. So don't go anywhere. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show as we broadcast to you live on WIGO 1570, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and on Periscope. Don't go nowhere, please. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-726-5739, or shop us 24/7 online at allenvigilford.net. That's right. I want to give a big shout out to our one of our main sponsors. They actually are our premier sponsor for high school football, Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. And I would be just certainly not the salesperson I am to not let you know that I personally also work for Allen Vigil Ford. So if you need a vehicle for yourself or your family, you can contact me directly. I'll be your personal concierge. Give me a call, 678-410-9833. Love to be of service to help you or your family in with a new car. Well, like I say again, we're going to shift gears, talk a little football, NFL football, but more importantly, our Atlanta Falcons. And the gentleman I have on the show is, for those of you who are familiar with our show, you're familiar with him. He is the embedded beat writer for the Atlanta Falcons for AJC Sports. He's also an award-winning sports writer and a professor par excellence. The Esquire himself, D. Orlando Ledbetter, is back in the building. All right, kind sir.
Hello,
welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so I'm probably not doing it right, but I'm going to go ahead and greet you like the cute dog, man, you answer. So I understand you guys had a great time on Founders Day last week. Lots going on with the Q Nation.
Yeah, no question about it. We it was all YouTube. We did it virtually this year, and great program put on by our national headquarters, national offices here. Of course, based out of Atlanta and Decatur. Is our international headquarters, founded at Howard University November 17th, 1911, in the Great Science Hall that would become Thurkill Hall. So great time of the year for us. 109th anniversary was celebrated last week.
Well, I know it's got to be exciting for you. It kind of harkens you back, obviously, each and every year back to days. I don't say days gone by because you guys always get together, and I watch how you guys, greet one another when you're out and about. So that's it. I know another thing too, I don't want to say sadness, but I noticed on Facebook, just from some of the guys I connected to, several guys that had trouble with COVID. Many of them passed, were actually Qs. And so that was, I know, just to be able to see one another again and see a lot of guys that you pledged with and guys that you've, met at national meetings around the country had to make you feel good.
Yeah, no question about it. We, our motto is friendship is essential to the soul. Our cardinal principles are manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. A group of educated men who, matriculated mostly through college. Some of them maybe didn't make it out, but hey, we met there. And then, so whenever we can, you see your friends, you get excited. So we're always, excited to greet each other and sharing that special friendship that we've had over the years. And then also do our community service work that we do all around Atlanta.
And that's something I think a lot of people forget when they talk about fraternities, because especially when you're younger, you always think about fraternities as soon as you get pledging, it's partying. But it's really the whole part about any sorority or fraternity really is the underlying aspect of community service. Speaking of community service, we have to sign off with those people on WIGO 1570 who are listening on the radio, and also the people on the podcast. The podcast is, lasts for about an hour, but we appreciate all those of you who have been listening on WIGO 1570. I tell you that do each and every week. Hey, I'm going to put the minister hat on. If you know the Lord as your personal Savior, please, man, please circulate the dome today, because nobody loves you like Jesus. And what a better time to think about it than the Thanksgiving and Christmas season. All right, big shout out to Eli Smith, our producer behind the scenes, behind the glass, Kevin Buchanan, our station manager and program director, and to all those of you on WIGO 1570. Till next time, God bless you. Have a great day. You social media folks, don't go nowhere because we're not finished. All right, so D-Led, I don't know. I mean, I guess I don't know what we expected. I think that fans have a tendency to get excited when they see winning. They think, okay, we're going on a roll, we're back. But Saints kind of brought everything back down to earth. So question for you from watching this, was it more a case of Falcons miscues, or just the Saints are really one of the better teams in the league?
Yeah, the Saints are the better team in the league. They, they won their division by 4 games last year. Nobody's catching them, maybe Tampa Bay, but they've lost to them twice. So Tampa Bay's not, it's the Saints division to win. They look like the best team in the NFC altogether. So the Falcons didn't quite measure up down there. And, I looked at the Saints linemen. Trey Hendrickson was a 4th round pick. David Ayumanta was a 3rd round pick. They got players out on the field making plays that were drafted. The Falcons guys, Deidre Sanat's a 3rd round pick. He's inactive. John Comiskey, a 4th round pick. He didn't do anything. Marlon Davidson, a 2nd round pick. He's something's going on. He only played 6 plays. So, you got to draft good players and develop them. And, the Saints have been able to do that better than the Falcons.
No doubt. Yeah, you talk about you look at that team, you look at the ability for them to put pressure on the quarterback, and especially when you have a situation playing Atlanta where Matt Ryan is not a mobile quarterback. He's nimble enough. I mean, he can get out of the way, but the Saints put an enormous amount of pressure. Now, again, we know Saints, like you mentioned, head and shoulders, one of the better teams, but did you think that there was some opportunity for the Falcons' brain trust to maybe make some adjustments in the second half, or do you think, like I said, again, it's just cut and dry, Saints are a much better team, and the Falcons really had no shot?
Well, they had a shot right before halftime. They're in field goal range, but then, he can't throw the sack or the pick, and he doesn't throw it. He holds on to it, gets sacked, and get thrown out of field goal range because, they could have took a 12-10 lead in there at halftime. But coming out in the second half, you're playing a backup quarterback, and you let them drive right down the field on you. So after that, you're playing catch up, and now you can't run it. But the good teams, find out a way to come out and get that stop and get the ball back and carry on. Looked like the Saints were the better team that day, and they beat them up front.
Yeah, so I guess the disappointment in watching that, you hit it right on the head. It's a situation where, okay, you have an opportunity. You're playing a second-string quarterback who really is not good at throwing the ball. Okay, he's good at running the ball, but he's not that good at throwing the ball. You have an opportunity to keep some momentum going, knowing that you're not going to get the ball in the first half, on the second half first. To me, I guess the disappointment is, yeah, the Saints had pressure on Matt Ryan for most of the game, but in the first half, they were able to move the ball. Ryan's a 12-year player. Anybody and their mother knows you can't take a sack, or as you said, turn the ball over in the red zone when you're playing a team that's better than you. And inexplicably, not only did he take a sack, but to me it appeared to be an unnecessary sack because he held the ball a long time.
Yeah, he could have got out and threw that thing away, or just get out of there and get upfield and get what you can. Just don't lose anything. You're on the
Right.
30, you're on the fringe, just a 39. So, you needed to get 4 or 5 more yards. But, so, some of the sacks were his fault. Some of them were the lineman's fault getting beat. I think Coach Morris said 3 of the sacks were the lineman getting beat. Other sacks were the covered sacks. So what's happening there is Dennis Allen was way ahead of Dirk Cutter, and that's the Saints defensive coordinator. Because you know what, they knew the Falcons hot rod and they jumped it.
Right.
So Matt had to hold it. And then there wasn't nothing else happened. So at that point, you're playing playground ball, and his guys were running around, trying to get free. They would get stuck. They would run their route and sit there. And the Saints would sit there with them because they knew the route. So at that point, you got to spin and start rolling some way, roll to the left, roll to the right, try to get open. And, they'll have that together the second time. The next time they play, they'll have to adjust and make the adjustments, but they didn't do a good job of that, with the protection and the, changing up other routes.
Yeah, it's funny because obviously we know when you're coming into a game, I guess, what are they, 3-7? So look, we're aware that the chances for them to do anything or even think about a playoffs are slim to none. Even if the league expands out to the 16-game format, we get it. But it just seems like with this team, every time there's a game where it even could mean something, man, they don't show up. I mean, because you think about this, you everything's in your favor. You're playing a backup quarterback who really can't throw the ball. All right, your team has shown some grit last couple of weeks. You're on a roll. You're thinking, hey, if somehow we can win this game, am I saying you're going to win the rest of them? But I guarantee you, psychologically, momentum, the winning, all of a sudden you think, hey, anything's possible because we just knocked off one of the best teams in the league. And I think that they just kind of keep squandering these opportunities. And I think that's really the frustration, as a fan, you're watching this team play.
Yeah, no question about it, Reverend. You gotta, start asking yourself, hey, is this team any good? They keep saying they're good, and they keep showing us on Sunday that they're not. So, certainly Julio getting hurt didn't help, but heck, they didn't have Drew Brees and Marshawn Lattimore. So,
right.
You can't play the injury game. At some point, you got to step up and play ball. They haven't been able to do that 7 times this year, 7 times, and they kicked away 3 of them.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just a frustrating thing to watch. So each week we come back here, we take a look at this team, and we start to analyze now, obviously, as we look into next year, kind of what this team needs. In your mind, have you seen some players at the college level that, regardless of what the Falcons may end up picking, that you think, hey, this guy would be an impact player or somebody I think could make an impact on this Falcons team?
Well, you got holes everywhere pretty much. So whenever you get there, take the best player. Might be a cornerback. We like the Furley kid out of Virginia Tech, the Russo kid, 6'6", 225, pass rusher out of Miami. That's a good player. Of course, both of the quarterbacks are there, Justin and Trevor. But the Patrick Surtain Jr., cornerback. At this point, some linemen out there. The kid from Alabama. I'm drafting all defense though. I'm drafting all defense, and they better be able to run and hit somebody.
Yeah, I think that this team, when I look at the team, that's a problem. I mean, if we look at the whole time period that Matt has been here and Julio have been here, offense for the most part has been above average. But defense, we've only had a couple of years where the defense has been even just past middle of the pack. I mean, we certainly had a couple of years ago when Marcon Manuel was here. I think they were number 7 overall, number 8 defensively. I can't remember now. But, I mean, they just have to get some help on defense. And I guess the thing that's so disconcerting watching this team is the other thing is the way they handled their money, because you got rid of all these players. They're playing at other places. I'm not trying to say they're knocking the world out, but they're playing at other NFL teams.
Yeah, no question about it. You knew the window was going to start closing after they got to the Super Bowl with young defense, first and second year guys, right. 7 of them. So, you paid a couple. You paid Dion, you paid Ricardo, you paid Grady. And you were paying them like you're going to win the Super Bowl and going to be in the playoffs. So now you look up and you're like, oh, okay, we're not, we're an 800 team. A 500 team. You're 7-9 the last 2 years, and it looks like you're headed to 4-12 right now. They're going to be favored in one more game, the Chargers game.
Right.
Maybe they beat Tom Brady in the last game of the year where they're resting people, or maybe the Chiefs have it wrapped up and they can get them in week 15, 17. But at that point, they're gonna need to win the game. So it looks like it could go sideways here real fast. They can't beat the Raiders and lose again to the Saints. Then you got the Chargers in there. Then you got Tampa Bay Chiefs, Tampa Bay. So not looking real bright right now for the Falcons.
Yeah, it just looks. I don't even know what to say anymore. So now let's go back. We know defense. We know they need defense. They, like you mentioned, have holes everywhere. You do have a couple of bright spots on defense. Obviously, you mentioned Grady Jarrett. Guy has to be considered this year an All-Pro. I know he's made the Pro Bowl before, but this guy is one of the better defensive linemen in all of football right now. And what can you say about the last first-round pick that Dimitroff made, A.J. Terrell? Can this guy develop into a Pro Bowler? Because he's starting to get that look.
Yeah, he's been, it's really bad when the rookie's the best-looking guy over there. But
how about that?
That's what it's looking like for him. Darquez Denard's come in and play some ball. So he I don't know why they let him get away. He's definitely upgrade at corner over Oliver and Sheffield. And Oliver's playing nickel, but teams haven't tried to expose him there yet. That'll come against the good teams. You might have a tough cover against Hunter Renfrow this week. So, but yeah, they'll eventually find him. But they're moving folks around, just trying to get through the season. Do the best they can on that side of the ball. The new regime will be charged with getting this team better through the draft and through pro personnel moves. Once the league gets back and you get start moving players around, you're gonna be high on the waiver wire list, so you have a shot at some of the players who get cut first. You're gonna have to use all kind of resources to rebuild the defense because you don't have any money.
D-Led, you finished that when you don't have any money. Well, now speaking of that, you talk about management making moves. All right, so as far as you looking out at some of the personnel managers that are out there, do you have a couple of guys, either a GM only or a GM coach combo that you'd like to see here in Atlanta?
Yeah, there's a couple. Of course, we blogged about that, and Eric Bieniemy and one of his guys from the Chiefs would be one of them. I don't have that list in front of me, but Reggie McKenzie and Eric Bieniemy would be a good combination. We saw some of the other names: Champ Kelly, Rick Smith, Brad Holmes. We're working on a story this week and have some other names that go along that list. Ray Farmer, formerly of Atlanta.
Right.
Jerry Reese won 2 Super Bowls with the Giants. Here, that's a good push from the league for him. So, those are some of the names we were hearing as the GM search is going. Coach-wise, we know most of those names.
Well, it's funny because I've seen a couple of guys kind of put out there the idea of putting Smith together and keeping Raheem. Would you like to see that, or you really want to see a fresh start from both positions?
If Raheem somehow won or somehow does anything down the stretch here, when they're going to be underdogs, I'm fine with it. He's definitely ready to be a head coach. He's been a head coach before. He knows the ins and outs. I want to see what his staff would look like because I don't think you carry on the guys that were loyal to Quinn. Most of them might be gone. So he might I like to see his staff because that hurt him in Tampa. He didn't have a good staff. He had Jasinski was the OC, and then he couldn't call plays. He's Matt Ryan's coach in college. And so then they had to settle on Greg Ghost and stuff. I want to see his staff, but he's definitely at 44 a lot more mature than he was at 32. And I like the idea of having somebody that's been there before and not experimenting as a head coach. Then the clock management issues and stuff like that we saw under Coach Quinn, and the rah-rah stuff, and being nice to the players when they should have probably been taking another position. So yeah, I'd be fine with Raheem being the head coach, because he's certainly going to be a head coach in the league, somewhere, whether it's here or the New York Jets or Jacksonville. He's definitely a top candidate and can definitely coach.
And no question, of course, the league is pushing much more aggressively for multiple reasons. Number one is the right thing to do, but of course, it is driven by money and by popular opinion. So we have now a situation with all the movement we've seen with the pandemic and the protest and the idea of pushing towards social justice in a real way. So there's no question that you're going to see African-American GMs and coaches get I think, a much closer look, especially here in Atlanta. So yeah, I would not be surprised. Some of those names you mentioned, guys like Jerry Reese, Eric Bieniemy, all those guys I think would be a good fit. And I think they also, in the case of Bieniemy, brings you something which you're going to need. A guy that is forward thinking in his offensive strategy, and a guy that has some, what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit of pizzazz. Because the Falcons offense, most of the time I look at it, seems to be very bland.
Mm-hmm. Well, football is very hard when you can't block. So I don't really get into the scheme. When I see the running back get to the hole and there are 4 people waiting for him, I'm like, okay, really, I know what the offense is supposed to look like, but when the blocking isn't as dominating as we're seeing around the league, you watch the Cleveland Browns play. That's some blocking. They're running for 200 yards a week. And if you could run for, 200 yards a week, you're going to have a winning football team.
Oh.
Everybody's got into this passing and shotgun and spread stuff. And, I think some of the physicality of the game has been lost as we move to this TV passing era where they're making the game look pretty for TV, and instead of playing good old fundamental smash mouth football.
And the interesting thing that you say that, the interesting thing is, and I think that's what he's going to be a coach to watch, those two guys out on the West Coast, because that's what I think, ironically, West Coast teams you would think normally would be more of these flyboy teams. That's what you really get with Shanahan and I can't believe I'm bringing a blank. What's his name over in Los Angeles? Both of those guys realized, hey, man, we want to run the ball. And, which we saw – right. You saw what they did with Gurley, and you certainly saw even Shanahan when his time here. Yeah, did the Falcons lap the scoreboard, but a lot of that was based on runs and misdirections and a lot of running, but running into spots where you had either great blocking or the play was set up in such a way that it left the running back to be able to get to that second level with a lot of one-on-one opportunities.
Right, no question about it. And they say they're running that same outside zone scheme, but they're not running it. They're trying to run power, and the power's not there. I don't ever see them stretching. They might toss somebody the ball, but the stretch runs that, Shanahan told us when he would meet with the medians, he's like, hey, I can't do anything till I stretch the whole defense out. I got to let them know we're going sideline to sideline, sideline to sideline. Then I can start the bootlegs back, the cross unders, the throwbacks, all the things that, it's really a high school concept, but, they perfected it and it's worked for the Shanahans for a long time, his dad and then him.
And it's funny, the one thing about the COVID, you get a little bit more time on your hand. But one of the things that's been interesting is there's been a guy that I follow on YouTube that's been posting. I don't know where he got them from, but he somehow found all these NFL Game of the Weeks from the 60s and 70s. And what's interesting is that you talk about the misdirection. I remember when I was 14 years old, when I was watching the replay of the highlights of Super Bowl VII when Miami played Minnesota. One of the things that they talked about, and the Steelers did the same thing, was the misdirection and running the ball back against the grain. Because if you remember at that time, the great Minnesota defenses, they lived on pursuit because they weren't that big. But they were able to get to the ball carrier, get to the quarterback very well, and that's the plays they ran constantly. If you watch those games, Miami, Pittsburgh, they constantly ran a counter runs off tackle runs, coming back against the grain cutbacks, and the Falcons really, because you think Todd Gurley, as good a year as he's having, he's doing that, as you said, with virtually no blocking and no attempt to allow him to get to the second level without, taking a lot of punishment before he gets there.
Yeah, and I think, one thing I've been watching here too is once they get to the red zone, what are they doing?
Right.
And, in the Carolina game, they got there, they scored the touchdown late, but on 10 plays before that in the red zone, 4 runs went for 1 yard. You're not trying to get a yard, you're trying to get 4. And then last week, same thing. Got to the red zone, ended up settling for a 28-yard field goal because the one running play went to only got 2 yards. So I'm like, I'm in the red zone, I got to run. I need to call my best runs or put the fullback in there, send him behind the tight end, run a counter, run something that's going to get you, just 3 yards just on a push ahead. But they haven't been able to do that, and it's been very frustrating to watch that. All first-round picks on that line, but they can't move nobody out of the way when you need to pick up some yards.
Yeah, very disappointing. You look at other teams that have used variations of jumbo backfields. They've even brought in, extra beef. They brought in a defensive lineman, offensive lineman. I never see the Falcons do anything like that. Bring in some extra meat. I mean, if you got Deidre not sitting over there at whatever spark plug weight he is, or Marlon Davidson, put him in there.
Yeah, and about the only thing they'll do is bring in Keith Smith and run a belly with him every now and then.
Right.
Quadri Allison came in against Carolina and they ran him for 3 yards. That's all I'm asking. Give me 3 yards. And I like to see more Quadri Allison here down the stretch. Gurley did about as good as he can do. Let's he's gonna be a free agent. Let him basically stay healthy and
right.
Go to maybe he goes to another team. Because you can't afford them, and let me see what Austin can do. Let's see if we got something here.
Well, we saw, this is the thing that is puzzling to me. We saw last year, and of course, anytime you bring this up, of course, I can't because I'm such a small P, but anytime you brought it up when your old buddy, who's now at the Athletic, brought it up, the idea that Quadri Allison got in the games and he did exactly what you brought him in to do. He picked up 3rd and 1s. He picked up 2nd and goals for touchdowns, and then we never saw him in the game. And we heard rumors he can't pass block. We heard rumors he can't catch, and we never really got a full understanding of why they don't use this guy. I mean, I'm just at a loss.
Yeah, he was drafted when our Sarkisian was here, and Dirk, likes another kind of back. He had Maurice Jones-Drew in Jacksonville. He don't like the little scat backs like Edo Smith. He couldn't get Ronald Jones going when he was at Tampa, but Ronald Jones doing just fine right now. Ronald Jones 2 for the Bucks. It's head scratching. At this point, you're 3-7. You're going nowhere. If you win all 6 of them, you're going nowhere.
Right.
Let's develop some players. Let's see if they can play. We know what Gurley is. Don't run him in the ground at this point. Let me see the running backs. Let me see Matt Gano on the line. Let me see Hennessy on the line. I might want to see Sean Harlow's been around here for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you about him.
I'll see if he can play, Alex Mack is going to probably be retiring here. So let's go ahead and see the center. And we might want to go ahead and take a look at Ben Kirk. I don't want to play Matt Ryan behind those guys, but I want to see what I got. I let the general manager who's coming in at least see these guys on tape a little bit so, he can decide how much work he's got to do.
Yeah, a lot of work. Yeah, this team, like I said, a lot. You hit it on the head. A lot of holes on this team. You're at the very end of production level for Matt and for Julio. You're trying to get Ridley. Ridley's a great player. Sometimes can be a little streaky. But at the end of the day, we see that he's going to be a potential all-pro player as he continues on. And they're just going to have to find a way to shore up both ends of the lines. And they are going to need to find a serviceable quarterback, because certainly what you don't want to do is get in a situation where you wait until either a Ryan injury or sudden retirement, and now you got nobody.
Right, and Matt Schaub's 40. He's going, it's the end of the rope for him. Yeah, he can get you. You keep a veteran around when you're a playoff team,
right?
Like, okay, we need to get through a couple games. He came in and did that last year, but you need to get some youth in that quarterback room now, because the sad reality is that you're at the bottom of the league right now, and so.
Right.
You gotta start climbing back up.
And of course, I'll tell people who I want, but of course now the cat's going to be out the bag because they're going to be forced to play him. I've wanted the Falcons to try to put together some type of deal with some picks and bring in Jalen Hurts from Philadelphia, but that's not going to happen now, because I think Jalen Hurts is going to start ahead of Carson Wentz in Philadelphia, because Carson Wentz, I mean, I know it's not the Falcons, but have you seen anything like this, D-Led, where a guy outside of maybe Matt Schaub went from 100 to 0 the way Wentz has gone in this season?
No question about it. I think a lot of his problems, too, start with the line falling apart up there.
Right.
Guys all got old, couple retired, and, you can look pretty good when you got time to pick out your receivers and read a book and do all that. But now he's on the move, and they paid him a lot of money. And, Zach Ertz is out. That was his security blanket. His line's beat up. So I'm not making excuses for him, but, there are some reasons why his play has dropped so drastically.
And he really does look gun-shy to the point of making really just bad decisions. I mean, if you look at the way he's playing now, he doesn't even look like the same guy at all.
He's seeing ghosts now. He's seeing ghosts. Those first couple of years it was easy for him. He wasn't getting hit. And now they done lit him up a little bit. And, once you get hit, once your hand touched that fire one time, you kind of know, wait, I don't want to go there if I don't have to. So, no question about it. It's fun watching the development of quarterbacks, because, Matt Ryan, his first year, they ran Michael Turner. And somebody told me, it's like, they're not doing anything special. They're running. Everybody's got to put 8 people in the box, and all he's got to do is read the safety, and he throws to the other side. So they won 11 games doing that. So, it's not. And while he's still learning how to play,
right?
So I was kind of the motto on how you win with a young quarterback, and
Perfect.
Philadelphia tried to do. A lot of people have tried to do it since and haven't been able to. Even with Mahomes, he didn't start right away.
Right.
Tua, they're trying it now. They're finding out, hey.
Surprise.
He gets yanked in his third game. So, developing a quarterback is really hard. But the Falcons under Bill Musgrave and Mike Mularkey and Mike Smith did a great job with Matt Ryan, winning that early with a young quarterback.
No doubt. Well, D-Led, listen, we're coming towards the end of the ball game here, brother. Let people know, of course, how they can find out more about you, website, so the least, and the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Reverend Simmons. You can find me on Twitter at DOrlandoAJC. Our Facebook page, Atlanta Falcons News Now. The Cover 9 at 9 blog every Wednesday at 9 o'clock on AJC.com. And the Bowtie Chronicles podcast. We just recorded episode 232 tonight. It'll drop on all the platforms, Apple, Stitcher, all that stuff, and AJC.com at 8 a.m. in the morning. We're taking a look at the Las Vegas Raiders this week as they come to town to play your Atlanta Falcons.
Let's get connected back in the situation here.
All right.
Well, D-Led, listen, man, as always, we appreciate you for taking time out and joining us here, man. I know your schedule's busy. And we look forward to, man, really having some better play here with our Falcons. it's funny. I try not to go back here and look at the Super Bowl year, but it's very interesting because even then you saw in that game what happens when coaching does not adjust. For the first time, I actually went back and looked at the breakout because obviously that year's one of the 7th best offenses in NFL history, and we talk about the 28-3 lead. But if you really go back and look at that, I didn't realize that in the second half, the Falcons actually had the ball 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
They only scored once. I saw punt, fumble.
Mm-hmm.
So last 4 times they had the ball, they didn't do a doggone thing. So as much as we want to try to blame the defense, they did, but the realities are the offense did nothing in the second half of that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Julio catch that should have bailed them out. But then they didn't run the ball and got pushed out of field goal range. So
right, and I was looking even at that series. You have a situation where you I think they got 8 or 9 or either the first or second run. You had 3rd and short. There's no need to throw the ball.
Man,
if you go back and watch NFL films, they had the Patriots players mic'd up. They were saying, "Oh snap, we're done." They would run the 3 down and kick a field goal and leave. I don't care the goat, the smoke. Even if you miss the field goal, you leave Tom Brady with no timeouts and less than a minute to go. They're not winning that game. Case closed in the story.
There it is right there.
Yeah.
Clark, yep. That was the AJC headline on that game. There's Matt leaving the field.
And really that from that second half on, this team, this city, to some degree, has not been the same. So
about it.
It just, I tell people all the time, I said, man, that would have been a game changer for everybody. But anyway, life moves on. Hopefully and prayerfully, our Falcons will do a lot better this year and that we'll be able to see some decent football back here in the city of Atlanta real soon. Well, D-Let, again, we appreciate you. Thanks so much for joining us. God bless, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, Reverend Simmons, thanks for having me. Take care and have a great rest of the week.
You too.
All right.
There goes, guys. Esquire par excellence, Mr. D. Orlando Ledbetter in the building, and we always appreciate him stopping by and joining us. And we, again, appreciate each and every one of you for joining us as well. Big shout out to those of you who decide to join us and watch on Twitch for the very first time. We thank you so much. Again, we are in a new location here. We're broadcasting from what we call the Breakout Bistro. Yeah, I was in the lockdown living room for a minute, but I want to change up because I say I'm going to Twitch for the first time. So now we are in what we call the Breakout Bistro. And we appreciate those of you who have watched us here. Please follow us on social media. We are at Real Talk Sports 7. That's how we are on Twitter and on Instagram. Also on Facebook as well at Real Talk Sports 7. You can find all of our stuff there. If you like high school football, go to our YouTube page. That's Real Talk Sports TV. That's us. There it is. You see it right there. YouTube.com. Right there. You see that? That's it. So go there. Please subscribe to the page. Hit the little bell. Bing. And please do that. We appreciate you. And we thank you for joining us and watching us as you do each and every week. We again want to give a big shout out to Allen Vigil Ford and Lincoln. They are our sponsors for high school football game of the week. We hope to have some more high school football coverage, but if not, we want to give a big shout out and thanks to him for all he's done to keep us on the air. Like I said, again, he did all of the live broadcasts or allowed us to do the live broadcast and also give a small donation to the schools at the end of the game. So how cool is that? So again, we appreciate Allen Vigil and all the folks there. And the good news is I actually work there as well. So if you guys are in the need of a vehicle, you can check me out. You can find me on social media, again, at Real Talk Sports 7. You also can give me a call, 678-410-9833. I'd love to be of service to you and to the family if you need a vehicle. So again, shout outs and thanks to Allen Vigil Ford, and thanks to you, especially those of you watching for the first time on Twitch. Thank you for those of you watching the replay on Twitter, and those of you are watching on demand on YouTube. All right, guys, every time I end my broadcast, because you see there it says Minister Jonathan Simmons, I actually am a real live minister. And what I always try to encourage people is that your spiritual man, your soul, is the most important thing you got. because that's the thing that's going to live on even once you leave this earth. So I'm going to ask you this question. Do you know Jesus Christ, your personal Savior, a.k.a. Yeshua HaMashiach? That's the Hebrew for Jesus, the Anointed One. If you don't, I ask you, please, ma'am, please, sir, get to know him today. Why? Because nobody loves you like Jesus. Not your mom, not your auntie, not grandmama and them, not your babe, not your boo, not your BFF, not your ride and die, not your ride and live, not your homeboy, not your homegirl, not your bestie. Nobody loves you like him. Why? Number one, because he made us. Number two, he came here on the earth, fully God, fully man, and he took the penalty for all of our sins, past, present, and future, and nailed him to the cross when he died a horrific death on the cross. But it does not end there. He rose from the dead. And guess what he took with him? He took all the keys from the devil himself, the keys to death and the keys to death and the grave. And he now has paid the atonement once and for all for all of our sins. If we do the following: if we repent of our sins, we tell God, hey, I've been doing it wrong. I'm sorry, God. We believe that Jesus made this final once and all atonement. And we go tell somebody. Guess what happens? Bam! There's a big change. Number one, the Spirit of God, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit, comes inside to live and dwell, helps you live a life well lived, not perfect, not pain-free, not problem-free, but a life that lines up with the things of the kingdom of God. And speaking of kingdom of God, you become a full-blown citizen of the kingdom of God and an adopted child of God with all the rights therein. And one of the best rights you get is after you leave here in death. Good news. You get a chance to live forever and a day in a place called heaven. That's right. Heaven is a place that is beautiful and does not have the following: no pain, no pandemics, no bad people, no protests, no politics of any type. Instead, you will and I will live in a place that is lovely all the time, sun shining bright, jewels adorning every building. As a matter of fact, the streets are paved with a gold that is so pure it's translucent. And the city has 12 gates, and all of those gates are made of one giant pearl. Now, how cool is that? And we avoid that nasty place called hell, where all those other P words I mentioned are not in heaven. They're going to be in hell. There's going to be pain. There's going to be problems. There's going to be bad people everywhere. And guess what? There is no escape once you get in there. So I don't know about you. I want door number one and not door number two. All right, guys, again, much shout outs and appreciate you for watching this broadcast, whoever you do it, whether it be, like I said, live or via the archive. Thank you so much. And I hope that the Lord blesses you real good. Again, follow us on social media at Real Talk Sports 7. You can follow me personally on social media at Minister J Sim. And go to our YouTube page. Subscribe. His YouTube channel is Real Talk Sports TV. All one word. Or just put in Real Talk Sports separately and it'll pull us up as well. Again, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining us. Welcome again to the Real Talk Sports Show. Hope you're on again back next week. And until the next time, God bless you and have a good night. So long.